Hello, my name's Nadine and I wanted to share my experience with you using natal hypnotherapy and the reasons for using it. My first birth was quite traumatic and it it didn't go to plan. So we wanted to see if there were different things and different techniques we could use and put into practice that might help the second time round go a bit more smoothly. There were a few things we looked at, one of them being the hypnobirthing, and after looking at it in a bit more detail we thought it's not really something that's going to work for us, and we came across natal hypnotherapy. We read the book cover to cover within the space of a couple of days and were completely hooked and thought this is something that we can, the techniques here that are going to work for us and that we can do and we can do together as a couple. There were sections in the book that we found really useful. The main thing at first is when it was explained to us how birth, how it was done, years and years and years ago before having all the assistance that we have these days, and basically, mums believing in themselves that they can labour well, they can do it naturally, it's what we're born, it's what we're made to do. And the techniques and, things that my husband could take part in, like counting me down and him having that involvement was really important for both of us. We just found between, reading the book and listening to the CDs that it just worked. Don't know how, but it does. It does work, and it did work, and it really did work well for us. Maybe 4 or 5 days before I actually gave birth, we were listening to the CDs every night. If I had a chance in the day, I'd listen to the CDs, and just to kind of get me into that zone and prepare me. And that's the thing, you can practice this as much as you like at home, beforehand. And, we did this, we listened to the CDs literally right up until I was giving birth. Maggie was with us all the way on that one. I found the CDs very helpful on the journey to the hospital in the car, because the contractions were quite intense at this stage, but it really helped me to keep my focus. And, I just listened to the CDs and kind of practiced everything that we'd done up, the run up before going into labour. And then when I got to the hospital and the environment changed and, swapping over from car to go into the room, my concentration kind of drifted, and that's when, self-doubt started to kick in. I started to feel, the contractions felt a lot more intense. But because my husband and myself knew what to expect, because we were prepared for this, we'd read it in the book, we'd listened to it in the CDs, kind of knew what to do to claw that back, and we literally just did, what the CD said, and it did, it worked. I was back in the zone, back focusing, my husband counting me down, 3, 2, 1, relax. Simple, but so effective. It worked. It really, really did work. And for us, definitely for me, that was just, it was really effective, and that's what worked the most for me, because it was hearing his voice, and because we'd kind of practiced it beforehand, and when I heard that 3, 2, 1, relax, it was just taking me back to that place. And it gave him some comfort that he was doing something to help, that he was a part of this, that he wasn't just sat by the bedside watching me in pain, that he wasn't just sat in the pool, and he can't help, there's nothing he can do. He was a big help, and it was really nice that we could do this together. It really, really was. The reaction of the midwife was it was fantastic. It really was, and it was a relief. Because I was worried that they thought I was going to come in, here's Miss Know-It-all, I know what I'm doing, don't need your help, this is what we're practising, just leave us to it. That's what I thought they were going to think of me. As soon as we told them we were practising natal hypnotherapy, well, they were just so pleased, they were so happy that they were going to get a chance to experience this. And, for potentially to be a part of something amazing, you know, it not being associated with the pain and the horror and being petrified, but more being relaxed, being a bit more in control, and just basically just embracing what is it's a miracle, isn't it? It really is. And it was so nice to have their support, and it was so nice to see how excited they were. And I don't actually remember this part, but the midwives cried at the end. They did. They hugged each other and they cried, and they just thought it was just amazing. So it was nice to have that support, and nice for them to see, and nice to know we had that effect on them. My advice to, you know, mums, dads out there who, you know, are thinking about natal hypnotherapy but don't quite believe that it works, it does work. It really does. My advice is simple. Just believe. You know, believe in yourself. Believe that you can do it. And I don't know how it works, but it does. And it just makes things so much more simple, so much more enjoyable. And I no longer associate, you know, birth or labour with pain. I associate it with a really nice experience. And I definitely use natal hypnotherapy again.